Employ your time in improving yourself by other men's writings so that you shall come easily by what others have labored hard for. Ordinary people seem not to realize that those who really apply themselves in the right way to philosophy are directly and of their own accord preparing themselves for dying and death. Where there is reverence there is fear, but there is not reverence everywhere that there is fear, because fear presumably has a wider extension than reverence. Well, I am certainly wiser than this man. It is only too likely that neither of us has any knowledge to boast of, but he thinks that he knows something which he does not know, whereas I am quite conscious of my ignorance. At any rate, it seems that I am wiser than he is to this small extent, that I do not think that I know what I do not know. He who is not contented with what he has, would not be contented with what he would like to have. They are not only idle who do nothing, but they are idle also who might be better employed. I only wish that ordinary people had an unlimited capacity for doing harm, then they might have an unlimited power for doing good. By all means marry. If you get a good wife you will become happy, and if you get a bad one you will become a philosopher. When desire, having rejected reason and overpowered judgment which leads to right, is set in the direction of the pleasure which beauty can inspire, and when again under the influence of its kindred desires it is moved with violent motion towards the beauty of corporeal forms, it acquires a surname from this very violent motion, and is called love. Nature has given us 2 ears, 2 eyes, and but 1 tongue to the end that we should hear and see more than we speak. We are in fact convinced that if we are ever to have pure knowledge of anything, we must get rid of the body and contemplate things by themselves with the soul by itself. It seems, to judge from the argument, that the wisdom which we desire and upon which we profess to have set our hearts will be attainable only when we are dead and not in our lifetime. Wars and revolutions and battles are due simply and solely to the body and its desires. All wars are undertaken for the acquisition of wealth, and the reason why we have to acquire wealth is the body, because we are slaves in its service. No man undertakes a trade he has not learned, even the meanest, yet everyone thinks himself sufficiently qualified for the hardest of all trades, that of government. The only good is knowledge and the only evil is ignorance. Worthless people love only to eat and drink, people of worth eat and drink only to live. Whom do I call educated? First, those who manage well the circumstances they encounter day by day. Next, those who are decent and honorable in their intercourse with all men, bearing easily and good-naturedly what is offensive in others and being as agreeable and reasonable to their associates as is humanly possible to be. Those who hold their pleasures always under control and are not ultimately overcome by their misfortunes. Those who are not spoiled by their successes, who do not desert their true selves but hold their ground steadfastly as wise and sober-minded men. Whenever, therefore, people are deceived and form opinions wide of the truth, it is clear that the error has slid into their minds through the medium of certain resemblances to that truth. Think not those faithful who praise all thy words and actions, but those who kindly reprove thy faults. He is rich who is content with the least, for contentment is the wealth of nature. Remember, no human condition is ever permanent. Then you will not be overjoyed in good fortune nor too scornful in misfortune.